Alrighty, this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Running a little late here. I don't have a whole lot of time. I'm just going to jump right on into it. Right now, got down to like 28 degrees last night. So that cold front, that massive storm system that's hit most of the Northeast and the South, Midwest, finally trickled its way down to the Jacksonville area. And no ice on the windshield, but we did get down to like 28, and tomorrow's supposed to be something similar. Funny thing about that, it has an effect on the school kids. They tend not to show up when it starts to get cold, which made it interesting when the New York governor said they weren't going to close any schools because of this massive storm, and they shoveling out 11, 12 inches of snow. So think of that what you will. But like I said, it doesn't last very long down here, so that's cool. I see I got my boy Selmo and I got JC on here. What's going on? Hope they get it together. I hope so too. Well, you see what happened? They caused more controversy with the Browns by sending Shador to the Pro Bowl. He ain't worthy of going to the damn Pro Bowl. I understand that Drake May was supposed to go, and there are a couple other guys that probably turned it down. No Trevor Lawrence. He had a chance to go, and I'm sure they probably called Lamar Jackson to see if he wanted to go. They probably turned it down so they can get healthy. And go find somebody to play, and they call Shador. A lot of people are having a fit about it. Well, if that's the system and they need somebody to play, fine. But what is the value of the Pro Bowl if you don't have the best players showing up? It becomes a popularity contest. And we've seen that play out in the NBA. And even when you get the best players, is it a game really worthy of watching? Good for the kids to get to see the guys play these ridiculous high-scoring games. But what does it really matter? Just the opportunity to get out there and get yourself hurt. So let the NFL put out there who they want. I say congratulations to Shador, but you know damn well he ain't no damn Pro Bowl quarterback. I just leave it at that. Now, could he have made the Pro Bowl if he played the whole season? Perhaps. Any of them could. We don't know that, but they get an opportunity to do that next year. But I think the Browns, the biggest problem with the Browns is they can't seem to get a damn head coach. Everybody that they got lined up to interview back out at the last second. And, the obvious rumor to that, they say they don't want to deal with Shador, but Shador is by far not the worst kind of character to deal with in the NFL. A whole lot worse characters that coaches have to deal with than a guy like Shador. He might have a brashness about him, but he's going to go and put the work in and try to stay as under the radar as possible. And again, he's not going to go out and cause too much trouble. So hopefully he can find a coach. It looks like might be Sean McDermott. So we'll see how that plays out. But I just happened to notice I've been sick the last 4 or 5 days, and I see that Dabo Swinney, he pointed the finger straight out at Ole Miss for violating the transfer portal rules to go after their linebacker, Luke Farrell. And I don't know how that's going to play out, but he got a whole long president, his AD. He's got everybody in the world alerted to the fact that Ole Miss is trying to pull something underhanded. But the thing about it is, it's kind of interesting because it's coming from Dabo. And Dabo does not want to embrace the future of college football. And he is falling behind. And this is, to me, an act of desperation. Now, you got good players, and you believe in developing your players, and you don't want to lose your players. So I understand his point of view. But at the same time, he's going to have to adjust to what's going on. Now, it would be ironic if we were to find out that Dabo was actually doing the same kind of stuff as Ole Miss. And we probably will find that out in time. But right now, he's got all the goods on Ole Miss, and he went to the public with it. And the question is, was it worth it? I mean, is his reputation scarred? If the time comes to the end at Clemson, where would he go? Who's going to hire a guy like this? Um, you're going to cry every time something doesn't go your way? We don't want a coach like that. And that's what he's becoming, that kind of coach. But in his defense, I will say that I did see another report where Dion also called out the transfer portal and the NIL and how it's destroying college football. So Dabo is not the only one with similar ideas or longings for the past. But at the same time, you can't benefit from something and cry foul over it. So what are you going to do? Well, I know who's not going to do anything. The organization that is losing power by the day, we know as the NCAA. I don't know how much longer it's going to be before they just go the way of the Pac-12 and just fold up. Now, the Pac-12's defense, they're going to revive themselves. Maybe not to where they were right away, but this conference is going to survive. Because like I said, all these super conferences are just going to cannibalize each other. All those super programs, let's just say Oklahoma, for instance, they go over to the SEC, and there's no way that they can guarantee their fan bases a 9-10 win season like what they used to and be okay with that. So at some point, they're going to start calling for things to go back the way they were. Well, they can't go back to the Big 12. Well, they could, but then the Big 12 probably going to try to kick out people. But that's even worse because you got a program that left you, now wants to come back to you, and because they want to come back, you're going to kick somebody else out? That doesn't make any sense. So I don't know what these schools are going to do when they can't go back to where they were. However, there's an exception. I said the Pac-12 will rise again. There's no guarantee that USC is going to stay in the Big Ten. It really don't make a whole hell of a lot of sense for them to do that. And they can go back to the Pac-12, so can Washington, so can Oregon, and rebuild themselves from there. Now, Oregon's done better than the other ones so far in the Big Ten, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. So I think as these conferences get bigger, eventually they're going to have to start getting smaller, and what you're going to see is eventually they're going back to the way they used to be. Now, I don't see the NIL changing because once you start paying people, there's no way in the world they're going to go back to not getting paid. And that's just the way it is. And Dabo is going to have to accept that reality. And as far as developing players, if a guy grew up a Clemson fan and all he ever wanted to play for was Clemson, and he signs with Clemson, then 9 times out of 10, you'll be able to keep that guy. But these kids, they're more loyal to getting on the field and playing. So even though I may be loyal to a Clemson, if I sign with them and it might take me to my senior year to play, the hell with that. I'm going to go somewhere where I can play. So what they would do in a situation like that, they go to a coastal Carolina, get some playing time, and get their profile up and transfer in somewhere else, get a nice NIL valuation. Damn Clemson. They're playing. And that's all these kids care about. So until Dabo catch on to that, he's always going to have a problem. But to come on out and call snitch on certain programs instead of saying this is what's wrong with the system, he pointed specifically at another school. Is Ole Miss guilty of what they're doing? Yeah, they're guilty. So are a whole lot of other teams. But for you to get on record and say, you guys did this, that doesn't make him look good to me. So he's going to have to find a way to overcome this. But if I'm wrong, you guys let me know because I don't know. All right, it's 1 a.m. here in Hawaii. Yeah, 1 a.m. in the morning. I guess so. We're 3 hours ahead of California, so that means you're 3 hours behind California. I didn't know you was that far. What you mean, Selmo, is for the ratings? You talking about Dabo Swinney crying for the ratings? Well, he's going to do more than that because he may not be able to last much longer. I don't know if I say hello or not, JC, but I see you on here. Hope they get it together. The Browns will get it together one day. I don't know, man. It's interesting time, but we got to get used to this because after the Super Bowl in 2 weeks, what are we going to talk about, man? So maybe we should be glad that a guy like Dabo has the nerve to come on and say something like what he did the other day. I wonder how the other coaches feel about him doing that. So he's voicing the opinions of a lot of them, but they wouldn't come out and say it. So what he pretty much did is their dirty work. And I think that's very interesting. Anyway, we got the Super Bowl coming up, man, and the Patriots, they're talking a little trash, and I don't think you're going to hear much out of the Seahawks camp. I think you're looking forward to this one. My initial pick right now, I got to go with the Seahawks. Everything has bounced New England's way this year. I don't care about the schedule they play because this is the NFL and every team they play is in the NFL. When they got to the playoffs, they beat the teams in front of them to make it to the Super Bowl. So they're just as legitimate as any other team that played the toughest schedule in the league. Hell, I'd rather play the softest if I don't have a choice and I get blessed with the worst schedule in the league, then I'll take it. But they pretty much earned that by having a terrible record last year. Same thing with Jacksonville. Now I catch up to them a little bit next year. But who's to say these teams that you're supposed to be so tough are really going to be that? It might actually be a soft schedule. What you did in the past really don't have an effect because these teams are going to be completely different in a lot of ways when you play them next year. Now, Strickland, what's going on, man? I think he's trying to get the Alabama job. No, he's not going to get the Alabama job. DeBoer, if he loses 3 games next year, even if he makes the playoffs, I think they're looking to get rid of him. But at the same time, he might be ready to go because there's really nothing he can do in Alabama besides win a championship to keep those people off him because he's not from there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he does. Now, Saban, he already had the grace of those people because he won a championship at LSU. If he had won a championship at LSU, it would still call him the Michigan State coach. So I would never have taken that job, been the first guy to take the job after Saban. Whoever it was, the one that made a difference, he ain't Saban, and they were going to let him know about it every time he lost a game. So that's just the way it is. Denver and the Rams coaches both said they should have went for it in those 4th down calls. I told you that yesterday, man. They so worried about what everybody else is doing. That's why I started off talking about the beauty of how beauty holds people, and it causes people to follow the crowd. And in this case, beauty represents analytics and going forward on 4th down when everybody else is, when common sense tells you to kick the damn field goal. So what happens? They lose. It's like Dan Campbell. He lost and didn't make the playoffs. But since he's done so good of a job, his job wasn't really in danger. But it cost these guys trips to the playoffs, so it won't cost them their jobs. But some of those other teams out there, say you get a 7-7 team out there and they start going for it on 4th down and all those failed conversions cost you a winning season and a trip to the playoffs, you're probably going to get fired. If they can get rid of a John Harbaugh after the job he did, Tomlin, I don't know why they keep reporting it now. He stepped down, but now they're saying he was fired. I don't think he was fired. He just got some bad reporting out there. But either way, people weren't happy with him either. So if these guys can be let loose of their positions, anybody that's following this analytics trend, they can lose their job as well. And I think you need to go back to the art of coaching and embrace the art of coaching and go by gut feel instead of analytics. Anyway, I'm glad Shadour's in the Pro Bowl, especially in that setting with Josh Allen and Herbert. It's good for the young rookie. I don't know what you can really learn from that because they're not playing pro football. All they can do is introduce themselves to each other and talk football, but you're playing flag football. That has no correlation whatsoever to the actual game of football. And like I told you guys many times before, what the NFL is doing, yeah, it's novel and all and helps cut down injuries, but at the same time, you're looking at the future of football. I think in the next 25 years, football is going to become a flag football sport. And I think the ultimate goal in the NFL is to make it co-ed. That's the way I feel about that. So, but yeah, congratulations to Shador, but he just alternate with X on it. And he's only there because a couple other people turned it down. But does that count as you earning a spot in the Pro Bowl? That's the question that needs to be asked. But congratulations to him. But anyway, I just want to come on and talk about old Dabo, speak a little bit about the Super Bowl. And yeah, we can talk all day about this analytics crap. And if you're coaching by a sheet that tells you should do this and do that, are you really the one that's coaching? No. You got to coach by feel, gut, instinct. That's the only way to do it. Otherwise, I can get anybody to do that. We can get AI to be a coach if that's the case. But I think the trend eventually is going to come to an end for all these people going for all these fourth downs. But as you see, it's not working very much. Now, I only say that because it will work if it's a surprise. But if you going for it all the time during the week, I'm getting prepared for all kind of scenarios when you do go for it on fourth down to shift the odds in my favor. Now that tush push, the only thing I can do about that, when you come ramming it up in there, I'm gonna grab your quarterback by the throat until you start running that damn play. And if you come in there with a big fullback, we can do something similar to him too. And that's the only hope we got to stopping that. But the quarterback, he comes jamming it up in there. We got something for him. And Drake May, he keep running. He got a linebacker in his future that's gonna lay him out the same way he was laying out Jackson Dart. But that's one thing that the Seahawks are gonna have to be wary of. Drake May taking off, and if they can control that, then New England might have a big problem. But that's just right now early talk. We'll talk a lot more about that coming up. But as always, it's that time for me. Got to go sign in. Got to go to work, man. Glad to be feeling a lot better, a lot cooler down here, which is actually not bad. There's no wind and there's no rain, no moisture in the air, so it's not bad. We'll take that 28 all day. But you can have that snow and shoveling and everything they got going on up north. Y'all can have that, man. Power outages, got none of that down here. Come on down to Florida, man. You guys will be all right. Anyway, I appreciate you guys chiming in with me. I asked the question, did Dabo go too far? Most of you, over 70%, saying the same thing I said. I don't think Dabo should have opened his mouth, or at least should have pointed a direct finger at a certain institution, because a lot of these schools are up to the same kind of thing, and wouldn't come publicly with that information. You pass that on to the AD and let them handle it, and let them be the face of it, not you. So I like to see how that's going to affect them moving forward. But the NCAA, I don't see them doing much of anything because they lose power by the day. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to hear that the NCAA has folded its tent. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, you guys have a great day, and I catch you on the flip side. And before I go, I got to tell you that a lot of people are down on Mike McCarthy. He may not be the flashiest or youngest coach, but he can win. And just like when Dick Vermeil took that 20 years off,